Dawson, your brother, did a rest assured run for you when you were in the hospital?
Yes, he did. When I was in San Diego and I fell off a skateboard and cracked my head and was in intensive care for 3 weeks. My brother and my family found out. My brother immediately dropped everything, took a few days off of work, drove 8 hours to San Diego.
Wow.
Went to my condo. First, he hid the skateboard because my parents would have broken that in half. Then he took all of my bongs, all of my pipes, all of my weed, got everything out of the way, and then completely cleaned the house from the ground up. And then he left before my parents got there.
And he just snapped into action.
He just snapped into
Can you
action. That's
imagine having a family member like that?
unwritten brother code.
That's great.
No discussions beforehand.
Zero. I didn't even talk to him. The radio station called that I worked for called my parents and said, "Your son's in the hospital."
And your brother snapped into action.
Like
and then
the
they
wolf
called
in
my
Pulp
brother.
Fiction.
Yeah.
And he just told
my
his boss,
sister,
"I got to go."
My sister would have come over, dropped off a kilo of cocaine, and then left. She would have never done that for me.
He got rid of all my porn, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and then cleaned the house.
Testament
My
to your
brother's a
relationship.
cleaner.
That's
Wow,
amazing.
that
Oh,
is a
God.
good man.
Good family.
We have Colt men.
Oh,
Chris was
good.
able to
Jesus.
find.
So
Is this from the 80s?
those are hunks.
70s, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
from the
these
70s.
are some hunky
yeah.
dudes.
Some of these are, but it went all the way to like 2005, 2000. In fact, this is Colt Studio Group. It's a gay porn company since '67. They started in New York, eventually moved to San Francisco.
What?
In 2007, Mayor Gavin Newsom signed a proclamation declaring February 23rd, 2007 as Colt Studio Day in celebration of this anniversary. And the proclamation attracted criticism from
You don't
Bill
say.
O'Reilly.
I'm back on Newsom's team.
Fellow in the top right's a rancher.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if those guys were gay.
Yeah.
They could be straight.
That's true. There's a lot of gay for pay.
Well, I as a kid, I always thought that women had the same visual arousal that men did. And I was like, oh, well, we have Playboy, they have Playgirl. I didn't realize Playgirl is mostly for gay men.
Right.
Yeah.
So in 2007, it was Colt Appreciation Day?
Yeah, February 23rd, 2007, Colt Studio Day.
I'm putting that on my calendar.
Are they
No,
still
we-
around?
We got to move the
Yeah, it
Carolla
says-
barbecue date.
It does say they're still around, yes.
Good for them.
Wow. Yeah, legacy company.
So
Tasteful.
Colt Roundup was probably like a look back of the year.
I guess. I don't know if you can copyright cult, but there's certain words you got to have that mean gay back then.
There's Honcho magazine.
Yeah, honcho.
That sounds
Like
gayer.
Yeah.
you need to have a sort of Western theme meets a kind of gay theme, but you can't just go gays on parade. You couldn't back then. You had to come up with some sort of much
know
like
why?
the woman who was putting the personal massager
right.
on her cheek. You couldn't,
We all know.
You couldn't draw a straight
No.
line. You had to kind of zigzag a little bit.
I like the guy in the middle.
Yeah,
Look
he
at
looks
him.
good.
I mean, how do you choose?
Are there any? Can you find Toby, the guy with the puka shells? And
The one that got away, as Adam refers to him.
I was like,
That's a deep bowl.
not gay at all, just staring right at the one guy with the headshot, going, "You think you're so hot, don't you? So fucking good looking that I don't get to see your cock."
Those are like real men.
Yeah. All right.
Jesus
Sorry.
Christ.
Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about Newsom. I'm glad you brought him up. On Thursday, he joined Truth Social. President Donald Trump's social media platform, but he did it specifically to call out Republican lies, quote unquote. I'm going to let him explain why he joined. Here's the clip that's been posted of why he's on Truth Social.
Hey, everybody, it's Governor Gavin Newsom, and I know we're all on this platform in search for the truth. But the truth is, I've not been able to find a simple explanation for the fact that we have a red state murder problem. 8 of the top 10 states with the highest murder rates happen to be red states. So the question is simple. What are the laws and policies in those states that are leading to such carnage?
Now,
All right, the top murder cities are all blue.
yeah, I have the list
Chicago's
here.
not a red city. The cities
St.
with
Louis is not
Baltimore.
a red
They're
city.
all the top cities that they do the most killing on. Newsom are all deep blue, bin blue, and have the strictest gun laws as well. So I
Are
would
there any-
counter with that.
Big cities that aren't blue, though, I feel like past a certain population, like cities always go blue.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what is the biggest somewhere in Florida or Texas.
Kansas
maybe?
City, maybe? Kansas City splits decently for such a big city.
Yes, I'm from Kansas City, and I think we have a super progressive mayor.
Yeah, I was going to guess like Houston or something.
Yeah.
Houston's blue. Houston had the first gay mayor of any major city.
Wow.
Yeah. Especially in red states, the cities go even bluer. Like that's like why
Austin. Yeah.
Houston. Yeah.
It's
Dallas is
Atlanta.
blue.
Yeah.
Well, Newsom's response to why. So basically, people are saying,
What
you know,
are the top? Oh,
I have
so
them
he
here.
would say the top killing states would be like Texas.
So, like, here it's Louisiana,
Mississippi.
Alabama,
Yeah.
Missouri, Arkansas, South Carolina, Tennessee, Maryland, Illinois, New Mexico. And then people asked him, this is really hard to understand. So, Newsom's response to, soft on crime cities in California, I'm just going to read you the direct quote about the issues that San Francisco's crime problem is having, and I'm just going to let you figure out what he's saying. He says, they want the streets cleaned up. They want a sense of order from the disorder they're feeling on the streets. Now crime's a component of that, but there's a lot of conflation of those issues, including mental health, open use of drugs, drug dealing, and the dirtiness in parts of the city. And tag, the DA was it, meaning there was some attachment of accountability and responsibility.
Well, I don't know
Does
what
that
he's
seem like
saying.
word salad to
He
anyone
doesn't know
else?
what he's
Yeah,
talking
I
about
couldn't
either.
follow
But
that.
but here's what I would
Like reading in a
respectfully
dream.
ask
He was
Gavin
bizarre.
Newsom to do. Instead of pointing out that there's more murder in Louisiana, how about you fucking work on California? We'll get the electrical grid going, see if we can get some water, and we'll just see if we can lower a little taxes, regulations, whatever. Just go on to set all considerable brain of yours on California.
Yeah, it's a weird thing for a governor to kind of point out other states.
Yeah.
That's his vibe. though.
Well, I mean, I don't
Where
know.
else you gonna go?
We're living in that world now where everyone's just pointing every direction. But focus on California. That's what I want to say.
Those are also like the poorest states, the ones
a
listed.
lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's always interesting too. The states that are the bottom of the list for education and obesity and health problems are also the
Imprisonment,
most.
yeah.
And also like the most conservative.
Let me take
like,
a quick
why
break to tell you
why
about
don't you deal with
Freeze
that
Pipe.
first,
Today's
and then come back
episode
to
is
us
brought
about
to you by Freeze
other
Pipe,
things.
the
You know what I mean?
smooth Listen, I used to exclusively hang out with poor
Tired of that
people.
hot smoke
They're not
burning your
noble.
throat,
They make
coughing,
fucking horrible decisions.
when you line
Most
up
of the reason they're
check
poor is
out
they make shitty
ice
decisions.
cold.
Every
Freeze
motherfucking poor
Pipe. Whether
person
you
I grew
smoke
up with,
THC
like
or CBD, it's the smoothest.
my
most
best
pleasant way
friend
to relax.
was run
secret
over
is
intentionally
the
by
freezable,
another poor person,
non-toxic glycerin
and
chamber.
he
It's
ended up
on
getting
the
like
piece. It's an
$13,000 from
device.
the other guy's
It's
insurance,
really
auto
impressive.
insurance company, and he had
Pop it in the
$13,000.
freezer,
And
put it in
I
there for
said
an
to
hour,
him,
and the smoke
13,000.
that
You're never
passes
going to
through it
see
is
$13,000
instantly
again.
cooled by
We
over
were like
100
23 or
degrees.
something. I was
Take
like, this is
bigger
the fucking
rips
most money
and
I've ever
zero
seen in my
chest
life.
pain
And I literally
and
said to
throat
him,
burn.
you
It
got to
is
buy
Freeze
books and
Pipe.
tools.
Right,
Books and tools. We were
the
doing
coldest and
carpentry. You know, it's like,
smoothest
buy
smoking glass
something,
pieces
have
around. Check out
something,
the
whatever.
freezepipe.com.
He said,
They make pipes,
fuck that, I'm going to
bubblers,
Hawaii.
bongs,
And he
and
just
more.
went to Hawaii and did
Be sure you
drugs
use
for
code
4
Carolla
months
for
and then came
10%
back
off
with
your
no
first
money.
order.
That's what poor people do. And then we all go,
Code
oh, these
Carolla
guys need a
for
helping
10% off your
hand or they need
entire
to
order.
step up or the societies. No, they're not. They're fucking dumb. They're impulsive and they make fucking bad decisions all the time. They fuck without contraception. They crank out a bunch of kids. They fucking cut school all the time and go, fuck that. And they make horrible decisions all the fucking time. And that's why they're poor. Take a fucking poor person and go, hey, don't shit out any kids when you're 17. Fucking stay in school and study and get back to me in a few years and but you're doing fine. It's an easy path. They don't fucking do it. And they're like, they have extra money. They don't fucking put it in their 401k. They buy fucking beer. That's what they do. I live with these people. I know these people. They're fucking impulsive. They'll take their fucking extra cash and buy a fucking aftermarket pipe for their jet ski versus put money toward like their kid's orthodonture. And they're fucking lazy a lot of the time. They're fucking angry. They're addicted to a lot of shit. Fuck poor people. I know tons of rich people now. They're 1,000 times better than my poor friends.
No,
They're
you
not,
know.
they're more generous. They're nicer. They're smarter. They're everything.
I grew up with rich people, so
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
I saw kids with generational wealth who were pretty big fuck-offs, and they could trip and fall and land on their feet every time.
Oh, don't get me wrong. My
Yeah.
kids are horrible.
The kids, all these, because I ended up going to a private school, and I always resented the rich kids because they didn't work as hard. They had way more money. They didn't care about their academics. They got DUIs. They got addicted to drugs and got sent to rehab. And I look at those kids now, and they all got their act together. They all started working at their dad's company and they're doing great. Like, oh, I worked too hard earlier in life and then I got lazy. You got to kind of fuck off.
That's my son. Sorry.
Yeah, because there was a job waiting for them at the end of the day.
So they took advantage of the fun years, and then now they got their shit together and have a family.
Well, that's a real rich man, poor man then.
Yeah, there's a balance for sure.
Well,
My God.
I have kind of an answer for you. There's a lot of ways to measure the largest conservative city or red city. There's a lot of ways to measure that, of course, who they voted for in the last election. This is Wikipedia going by who has Republican mayors. And none over 1 million people. However, the largest appears to be Jacksonville, Florida, just under 1 million, and Fort Worth, Texas, just under 1 million.
Wow.
Oh, Jacksonville. Man, a lot of black people didn't vote if they had a Republican
No
mayor.
large cities with a Republican
I mean,
mayor.
those are large, but they're not,
Population-
metropolises.
We may get a Republican mayor in California or sort of Los Angeles who goes by the name of Caruso, who's says he's a Democrat, so he can get dumb people to vote for him, but he's really a Republican, so maybe that'll be good.
I kind of like those guys. I like Clinton and Romney. Like Clinton was a red state Democrat who won the governorship, and I think Massachusetts Romney was a Republican who won a blue state. Those people are more interesting to me.
I agree. It means you have to consider,
person.
your constituency and all of them.
What about Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, he wasn't a true Republican.
Oh no,
No.
he wasn't. But he's
get elected in
Schwarzenegger,
California.
so the bets are kind of off with him.
Can we please talk about Mike Tyson? Because he has broken his silence, my favorite phrase. He's finally telling people why he beat up that super annoying guy on that flight as though he needed a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So Tyson went on Kimmel's show to explain his side of the story. TMZ reports that Tyson, who was removed from the plane along with this bloody passenger, he wasn't charged with a crime. And Melvin Townsend III was the guy he beat the shit out of. The 36-year-old man who was on the receiving end of the beating hired an attorney. Unclear if they struck a financial deal between he and Tyson. Anyway, here's a clip of Tyson explaining the beatdown to Kimmel.
That man is cancel proof.
Yeah,
Of
he's a
everyone who
treasure.
cancel culture should come after, that man has every box checked, and he's just such a sweetheart.
Yeah,
I also kind of wonder. You said this guy's a third.
Melvin Townsend.
that's
He's
right.
the rich asshole
Yeah,
kid
that's
you were
everyone I went to
talking
high
about.
And
school
he
with.
has a rap sheet.
But do you think his dad was on a flight fucking with terrible Terry Norris in like 1982, and then his grandfather was fucking with Ernie Shavers in like 1969? Like, do you think there's a rich history of Tyson wasn't born yet, but we're fucking with prize fighters?
It's a very good question.
If so, he can be excused. We can understand it.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a dust up with the law. He's had some drug issues. He stole a trailer that he hitched to his pickup.
Is
It's a rich name for a trashy person.
That's right.
Well put.
Yes, I went to North Hollywood High with a very white trash dude. He was living in literally like one of those homes, where people abandon their kids or whatever. It's like a super white trash dude. Yeah, I liked him. His name was Thurston.
No, it wasn't.
It was, and this is 1982. Like, your name is Thurston Howell the
Thurston
Third is all
Howell.
ahead. He lived at the fucking halfway house, which is weird. But we made friends.
Yeah,
Played
you
on the
should.
football team.
Good.
Is Terrible Terry Norris a bad nickname or a good nickname for a boxer?
Terrible for a boxer is good.
Terrible Terry Norris is
No,
good.
it's great.
Okay.
You do terrible things.
Well,
to
what
do in the
about
ring.
like for a prostitute?
Yeah, again, now you got a different
That
arena.
means you're not going to get
Yeah.
your money's worth.
Prostitutes and dictators, probably not so good.
Yeah, I would say
Boxing.
czars if you were a Russision czar.
True.
Although dictator, good name for a prostitute.
Yeah.
That is good.
Dictator.
Yeah.
Good name for a porn star, like
Yeah.
Bonnie
Yeah.
Rotten.
Dictator's like a short, kind of round porn star with a big hog.
Bud-like.
Yeah.
From
what
Iowa.
was Terrible Terry Norris's record? That guy was fucking badass. Anyone ever heard of him?
He's the mayor of Jacksonville now.
Sorry.
He's 47-9.
Well, it's not bad.
Wow.
He fought in the 80s, whatever. Probably fought all those Sugar Ray Leonards and.
Yeah, turned pro in 86.
Well, I've never lost a boxing match, so
Oh, you haven't?
I've never boxed.
had
Been in a
boxing
boxing match.
I've never been in a fight.
Okay, so that's a good question. Terrible's good or bad name for a casino?
Oh,
because
yeah.
nobody wants to go to Terrible's,
Yeah.
but it's very popular.
On gas stations, I think, are Terribles
Well, Terrible's is right outside Vegas, right?
They
It's
have
just across the border.
a string.
Yeah.
I think Terrible's has a string of gas stations.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
Really?
Well, terrible towels.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Pirates.
And
Pirates?
Terrible's.
Yeah.
I think they have a bunch of gas stations and do a
Same
bunch
thing.
of
Yeah.
off-road racing. That's
Okay.
my recollection. But
Okay.
go ahead.
There's a
Yeah.
place near where I'm staying in the valley called OK Chinese Food.
It sure is.
Yes.
It is. They are not lying.
Truth in advertising.
I love it. That's more endearing to me.
Terribles.
Terrible's gas station, or it's Terrible's Chevron or whatever.
So it's
There's
kinda nice.
also a Chinese food place in the valley called Tasty Goody.
And then is the Golden Chopstick still there?
It sure shit is. I mean, I don't know.
I haven't told my Golden Chopstick story in 10 years.
You can't dine in right now because of COVID. I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
really?
there.
Golden Chopsticks is next to Gina's place.
Mm-hmm.
I used to live up the street in an apartment in North Hollywood. I was it was a bad time for me. I
This is
used to,
Gina's Wednesday night place.
the apartment,
It's really good.
my one bedroom apartment was off an alley. I had 3 dudes in there, and I had I had taken a year off doing construction to build my grandmother a kitchen in her house in North Hollywood, up the other direction up the street. And I really didn't know what I was doing because I'd only been working construction for like 2 years. And my grandma just said, I'll pay you $10 an hour. And it was a shit show. And part of the shit show was when I didn't know how to pour a slab, but there was this crazy toothless guy named Mike who was a cement contractor who fought with his brother, who lived down the alley, who did typewriter repair.
Oh, boy.
He was a fucking shit show, and we'd crash on our sofa sometimes. I didn't even know him. He'd be like, hey, man, fucking just got into it with my brother again. Can I just crash? And he'd be covered with concrete and shit. And Mike said, can you help me with the slab for my grandmother's kitchen? I don't know anything about doing a slab. I could form it out, but I couldn't finish it or whatever. And he said, oh, yeah, I'm a slab expert. And we did the slab, and he came up short with the concrete, and so it was low in certain spots, and we had to keep going to Builder's Emporium and getting bags and mixing them and dumping them in, and the whole thing came out all wavy and shitty, and it was about 8 o'clock at night, and we'd been at it for like 13 hours, and we're both covered in fucking concrete, and Mike had an El Camino, but it wasn't El Camino, it was a Ranchero. It was like the Ford version of a El Camino. And the driver's side door was like caved in, so he'd have to climb out of the passenger side.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a lot of that. It was like
Yeah.
duct tape
Yep.
shut, whatever. And we were so exhausted, and it was at the end of a super long day that didn't go well. And we said, we're going to the Golden Chopstick because he'd love pork fried rice.
Oh,
you
sure.
know?
Who doesn't?
And we drove out there, and we parked in front. He's toothless. He's covered with concrete. He's wearing jeans and boots, but the concrete's up mid-thigh. I'm covered with shit and concrete, too. He's crawling out of the window of his Ranchero. And we spot
Rich man, poor
a
man.
fucking hot chick, like, walking down the sidewalk. And Mike's like, hey, shit, let's go talk to her. And I, like, look at him, and I look at me, and I look at his truck, and I go, I don't think this is going to work, Mike. And he looks at me, and he goes, what's the matter? Don't you want any pussy? I was like, I wish that's how it worked.
Oh, my God.
But he generally was confused that I did
I
not
like
want
his
any
confidence.
pussy. Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Oh, that guy was.
A for effort.
Oh, it's fucking. At some point, my grandmother got out her wine at the end of the night and poured it in a glass room, and he shot it down like
Oh,
it was
boy.
out of a
Slugged it.
sitcom. He literally just shot it down. At some point, his brother came over for some reason, and we'd call my grandparents old man and old woman. Because like I couldn't remember. Hey, old man, got a little more wine. Old woman, a little more wine over there.
Christ.
Some point, his brother had a little too much and had to relieve himself, and just walked over to the other side of the patio and started pissing on the side of the ivy wall. And Mike started yelling at his brother because my grandma and my grandfather were there. It's like, hey, dude, don't fucking piss. We got the old man and the old woman over here. And he put his head over his shoulder, and he looked back at us all sitting there like 17 feet away. And he goes, I turned my back. Like this whole thing was like,
That's
I'm
a
not
respectful
pissing
move.
on the old people. I'm just pissing in their yard. Yeah.
Well, A lot of fucked up people in your orbit.
God, don't ever live off an alley.
Done.
That's the mode that the troublemakers can't travel the street.
Right, the
it's
boulevards.
too lit up. There's too many
Yeah.
cops and people and
Yeah.
stuff. They
Too many
travel
looky-loos.
they travel the alley,
That's
and that's
right.
where you fucking run into the winners.
That's right.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. You want to bring it home?
One more. Let's do
Okay.
one more.
Let's talk about Flippy the robot because you're going to be seeing Flippy in a lot more places. Miso Robotics robot French frying and burger flipping maestro.
Oh, no.
His name is Flippy. And it's finding its way into all sorts of restaurants. In fact, White Castle has decided to hire, quote unquote, 100 more Flippies after a successful pilot launch. And we have a little bit of Flippy for you. So they want more Flippies all over the place. In fact, you're going to be seeing them at Buffalo Wild Wings and Jack in the Box. And
Yeah.
look at that cute little flipper.
Andrew Yang is not fucking happy about this shit.
They dress this thing up in like a, in
Give
like
it a
a
little
ship's
sleeve.
smock.
Yeah.
It's Flippy.
Well, look, once
you would have been out of a job.
I would have been out of a
Yeah.
job. If you want to, you can. Hey, politicians, get that fucking minimum wage to $25 an hour.
Well-
But there ain't going to be jobs.
Put that back up, Ben. Put
They're
that
not going to
last
have minimum
freeze frame.
wage. Jobs are going to go away.
Yeah.
See, here's the whole thing. Politicians are dumb. People that run businesses are smart. So the politicians go, let's fucking raise that minimum wage. And the smart businesses go, you know what?
Let's just grab a.
We'll just go with Flippy.
Go with Flippy.
I just love that there's going to be some around me like, yeah, I'm an IT guy at Burger King.
That's right.
I fix the machines when they break down.
Well, that will be, and that guy ain't getting minimum wage. That dude's getting $75 an hour to
Right.
go over
That's
there
got
and
a college
maintain
degree.
those things.
Ben, you just had it. It's the freeze frame at the end. What kind of fucking Bobo in and out, make believe in and out is this? Cali burger with the 2 palm trees?
Oh, I don't like that. Good
Oh,
call.
it's good. They
What
couldn't
kind of
clear it.
copyright infringement is going on over there?
You're right. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. She is relentless.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
We need ball pullers in Denver when I go out there coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
Friday,
so
Saturday, June
it-
24th, 25th. Yeah.
If you want to be a ball puller this weekend, email us questions at adamcarolla.com in the subject line, ball puller, Denver. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Matthew's going to be in Winnipeg July 19th through the 23rd. Nice long run over there, and also the podcast. She does stand up too. It's available wherever you get finer podcasts. Good to see you, my friend. Come back anytime.
Thank you so much.
That was a good time. All right. You can go to amcroll.com for all the live shows. Until next time, it's Adam from Matthew and Gina and Bald and Flippy saying mahalo.
And then it was a girl's birthday, and so the mom brings out the cake, and it's lit, and they all just stop talking. Look
And
at
they
the
sang
cake.
Wonderball.
They should have. They looked at the cake, and they all just go, "Oh, Bella, Bella!" They're just exclaiming how beautiful this cake is, and there's so much appreciation for this 8-year-old's birthday cake. I couldn't believe it. Like
We're
it just
such